Okay, being 7 o'clock, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Town Council of the Township of McNabb Braeside for June the 1st, 2021 to order. Roll call has been taken. To be noted that Councillor Broom is not with us this evening. Are there any disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Seeing none, before I ask for a mover and seconder to the adoption of the agenda, there's one item under new business that I would like to add to the agenda concerning the Ontario Winter Games for 2022. And also I'd like under new business to recognize the archives for their recent award from the Ontario Archives Association. So if council doesn't have any problems with either of those additions, I'll ask for a mover and seconder, please. Councillor Jacob, Deputy Mayor Armstrong, all in favor with the additions? Carried, thank you. No delegations. We're on to the adoption of the previous council minutes of May 18th. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Lang, Deputy Mayor Armstrong. Any concerns of the minutes? All in favor of receiving as presented? Carried, thank you. We're on to reports of committee. 7.1, the Public Works Department sidewalk repair. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Jacob, Councillor Lang. Mr. Frew, please.
Yes, so I have provided an update with a revised recommendation with regards to the sidewalk repairs on River Road. So the recommendation reads that Council of the Township of McNabb Braeside increase the 2021 capital roads budget for spot repairs of concrete sidewalks on River Road between Division Street and Osborne Street from $25,000 to $40,000 to be utilized from the capital asset replacement reserve.
Questions? Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to explain that this is a project that was done in conjunction with the County of Renfrew.
The county is going to be repaving River Road from Division to Osborne this year. So it's a good time to get the sidewalks done. Any questions or comments from council? Seeing none, all in favor of the recommendation? Carried, thank you. 7.2, the April 2021 financial overview. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Lang, Deputy Mayor Armstrong. Ms. Kelly is not with us this evening?
No.
Okay. So we've all had the report and showing the revenues and expenses, and it's in a typical situation for this time of the year. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the recommendation? Carried, thank you. So 7.3, Finance Department, 2021 garbage rates. Mover and seconder, Deputy Mayor Armstrong, Councillor Jacob. Is there questions or comments on this? Do you have anything, Mr. Frew, perhaps?
No, it's just I think the garbage rates just reflect the savings that we've seen with our recycling contracts once we got those into a longer term contract instead of a temporary one that we had to enter in kind of due to the bankruptcy of Bowman's Waste. So once we've gotten that in place, we do see a reduction in the cost, which is reflective in the garbage levy.
Thank you. So this is a direct result of McNabb Braeside, Arnprior and Renfrew joining together in a longer contract with, is it Mterra?
Yeah, so it was both the collection, which we do with Tops Environmental, and then for the processing, which is at Mterra. So that them opening up that plant in Renfrew has provided a savings to us, and as you said, the joint with Arnprior and Renfrew also provided savings to those contracts just because of the economy of scale.
Thank you. Questions, comments? All in favor of the recommendation? Carried. Thank you. .4 Finance Department 2021 property tax rates. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Jacob, Councillor Lang. This rate, we set our levy and everything way ahead of the county, and the county is just, I guess, going through and set their rates for the county, and it affects our budget very slightly. Any comments or questions on this? Seeing none, all in favor of the recommendation? Carried. Thank you. 7.5 bylaw enforcement report for April. Mover and seconder. Deputy Mayor Armstrong, Councillor Lang. The report is there for your information. Questions or comments on that? Seeing none, all in favor of the recommendation? Carried. Thank you. Information items 8.1, the OPP Renfrew County ATV Trail Patrol results. Mover and seconder, Councillor Jacob, Deputy Mayor Armstrong. Questions or comments on this? Councillor Jacob.
I just wanted to say that it's nice to see that this is happening. I know we've all had calls and emails about speeding on the Algonquin Trail over the last few months. So it's nice to see that we can tell the community that the OPP and the ATV Club have been working together collaboratively. I do have one question, and perhaps it's best to direct it to you, Mr. Mayor. In the letter, it notes that they've expressed interest to the county to have their wardens delegated bylaw enforcement status or powers. Is this something that's been discussed at the county council table? Yeah.
Not at this point, but I'm sure it will be going to Development and Property Committee, who's in charge of the Algonquin Trail, and that committee will likely will bring a report forward to county council. So at this point, there's been no discussion that I'm aware of, but I'm sure it's coming. Anything else? Seeing none, all in favor of receiving this information? Carried, thank you. 9.1 motions, there are 3. I'll use the, I know that I have moved all 3. So I'm wanting to, we'll deal with 9.1 part 1, Town of Aurora and Town of Caledon, Municipality of Calvin, 3-digit suicide crisis prevention hotline, 988. I strongly support this. There's been way too many deaths.
We need a mover and seconder first, please.
We have a mover, just no seconder.
Okay, Councillor Jacob. So I think this is a very good move. I believe it's already being used down in the United States. And other areas in Canada, I think, are also looking at this, and I very strongly support this. Questions or comments? All in favor? 9.1 carried. Thank you. 9.2, I need is Town of Perth provincial hospital funding of major capital equipment. I moved it. I got a seconder as Deputy Mayor Armstrong, rather. Again, hospitals in the rural areas especially need updated equipment and an expansion of equipment available to the residents of our area. My understanding is that ARH are currently looking at possibly an MRI machine for Arnprior, like Pembroke has. I hope they follow through with that. I think it's a necessary piece of equipment in this day and age for our residents. Instead of having to wait sometimes 4 to 6 weeks or 2 months to get an MRI in the Ottawa area, I'm hoping that the provincial government will take this recommendation to heart and help fund the provision of the badly needed equipment. Questions or comments? Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Just comment, sir, that I think this is a great idea. It would save the hospitals from having to resort to fundraisers like Catch the Ace and Jeep lotteries in order to raise funds for a hospital for capital equipment, when the province and other funding resources could certainly be utilized.
Agreed. Any other comments? All in favor of supporting the motion? Carried. Thank you. 9.3 Municipality of Leamington Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. I have moved it. I need a seconder, please. Councillor Jacob. Thank you. This is just straightforward common sense. I'll just leave it at that. Is there any comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor of the support the motion? Carried. Thank you. Under item 10.1, under unfinished business, Carl Berger request to purchase road allowance 745 Mill Ridge Road. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Jacob, Councillor Lang. Mr. Frew, do you want to speak on this? I know we asked for more information and to see a bit more about it.
I think the only comment that we have is that by either disposing of that parcel, it really landlocks the rest of the road allowance that may be used in the future. So I think it doesn't seem to be a good fit to dispose of that section of road allowance at this time.
Any thoughts into the request to lease it?
I think the same implication is if it's not in the township's authority, then there could always be complications of blocking off that road allowance for either, access for the property owners behind it, from it. So I think that was kind of the same comment that the chief building official had as well when he looked at it.
Or any other questions or comments about this particular road allowance? Yeah. Ms. Lee, I haven't got a resolution, or is this just staff direction, or?
We were just looking for staff direction because typically we don't let anybody alter any kind of road allowances in the township in case we need them for future use. So council will have to direct us differently if we're going to do that.
Okay. So then, if I'm listening to council, the staff direction would be to deny Mr. Berger's request to purchase and or lease the unopened road allowance. Questions or comments? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. On to 10.2. Colton Broughton, a request to purchase township owned property. Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Emerson, Councillor Jacob. Same sort of scenario. Any comments or questions on this one? Staff is recommending exactly the same as the previous one. So staff, Deputy Mayor Emerson.
I guess it's a comment or a request for information if it's available. Not that it's going to sway my opinion one way or the other, but the individuals mentioned that there's a possibility for this to be used as an ATV trail or a snowmobile trail, and they're trying to block it off, to mitigate that. Is that not the one that this one is about?
I believe you're right. Yes.
Okay, so just some history. That is an old trail that's been used for quite some time. So my assumption was that as these people bought the properties, then usage of the old trail would cease. So that I was kind of surprised that this actually came to us. I just wondered, have there been any reports of issues to staff that it is continuing to be used as a trail, even though it really no longer exists?
Ms. Lee, any report, complaints about that being used as an ATV trail?
Go ahead,
I
Anne.
haven't received any complaints.
I haven't either.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you very much, ladies.
I did know.
And like we said before, like anybody can use unopened road allowances, they just cannot alter them. So
We also noted by the fire chief that it does give some access for firefighting equipment down that hill in case of fire or brush fire, or even now some of the back end of the newer houses that are being constructed there. So staff direction is the same as previously, is what I'm hearing. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Under new business, 11.1, letter from Norm and Sandy McClellan, White Lake Beach. Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Armstrong, Councillor Lang. This is really kind of upsetting for me because I know the McClellans have been looking after that park for many years, cleaning it, fixing the picnic tables, fixing up the shoreline, putting stones in place to stop people from launching boats there. And have just come to the point now where people are just parking all over the place and jamming it up, and with no washroom there because of COVID, coming across disgusting litter and garbage and waste throughout the park. Now, I don't blame the McClellans one bit for stepping back from this. Not only is it hard to stomach, it's not safe for them because of the possibility of bacteria and other problems that arise from what's being done in that park area. So I would like council, along with staff, to try and come up with some sort of solution for that park area. I know it's going to be difficult because it is a public park. I've already talked with Ms. Lee, and there's not an awful lot we can do about it. So I think I'll just leave that till the 15th council meeting, Ms. Lee, to bring it back and see if council or staff can come up with any sort of plan to make this park more usable, especially for our residents. In the meantime, I would suggest, even though COVID is there, we need to put porta potties in place. I know we have held off in doing that because of COVID, but I understand we've now got one down at Claybank Park. Thank you very much for that. My suggestion is that we open up the washrooms not only at White Lake, but also at Burnstown Beach. And if the one at Red Pine Bay is not open, I think it should be as well. Ms. Lee, you had your hand up?
So they all are open now because on May 22nd, the health unit opened all beaches. So there's washrooms there. And whatever solution we come up with has to be for all of them, because the people doing what they do at that beach is not any different than what they do at all the other beaches. And staff is cleaning it up there too. So if we can come up with a solution, that's great. But it has to be applied across the board.
Agreed. Councillor Lang?
I just want to add to this. We need more garbage cans at Claybank along the trail. We don't have, and we also don't have a dog pooping station, bag station at Claybank. So there's dog feces that I come across, regularly. Also too, I wanted to make a point that people are going to the washroom behind the fire station in White Lake. And there are also some people are trying to use the back of the White Lake store, which is private property. They've had a devil of a time chasing people out from behind the store. So yeah, it's not good. At the rowing club, I picked up garbage every time I go rowing because it's just all over by the rowing club boathouse, which is really not nice. So.
Thank you. Ms. Lee?
So the dog poop bag station at Claybank has been replaced several times. I don't know who keeps taking it or who has a whole bunch of poop bags at their house, but someone's taking them because we keep replacing them and then they keep disappearing. So I'll ask Recreation to put another one back up again, but I suspect that it'll be gone again shortly.
Thank you for that. Any other comments on 11.1? Okay, I guess we're all in favor of this direction for council and staff to try and come up with some sort of an idea for all our park areas in the township. All in favor, oh, Councilor Lang? All in favor? Carried, thank you. 11.2, Sanjay Vandenberg, 73 Usborne Street, private hydro service in unopened road allowance. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Jacob, Councillor Lang. Mr. Frew, do you have a comment on this?
Yeah, so I was approached with this, the request. It actually came through Hydro. They were the ones providing the layout for it. And I indicated to them that the homeowner would have to approach us individually with a request to council, just because it is an unopened road allowance. And typically we do not, permit, private services within the unopened road allowance. It's one where they've expressed that getting a hydro service from Osborne Street might be more difficult and more expensive to the homeowner. I don't know what the difference would be in order to achieve that, but they provided this. It's not something that's on a typical subdivision. There would be secondary private service that would run along the road allowance, because there would be a transformer every 5 houses, and then their service would run from that transformer along the road allowance. So it's not something that's never done. It's just not typical for a unopened road allowance in this case. It could occur. It's just not typical. So that's why we suggested it come to council and get your feedback as to if it's something that you would like to proceed with, or at least approach, because we would have to go through our legal to do an agreement, and I don't know what they would say as well, if they would be against it in an open road allowance as well. It would also further impact council's ability to use that road allowance for any other purpose in the future. There is currently, Bell utilizing the road allowance with, Bell boxes and such on that road allowance. So it would never, I don't foresee it ever becoming a new road. But those are kind of just
I agree with you on that one, that I cannot ever see that becoming a roadway.
No.
But I also noted in the information that they plan to bury the cable 3 feet.
Yeah, that would be the standard depth. The way that they show it is not something that I would, if they were going to proceed with it, they would need to run it along the property line or a meter off the property line. They wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't recommend running it through the middle of the road allowance the way that the sketch is shown. Other than that, and I'm not.
I also noted that it seems strange they kind of got it going on an angle right down the center of the road allowance.
Yeah, when you go and see the property, like it has to go over a pretty steep embankment, from Center Street down to the existing house. So I don't know how easily the construction would be doing it this way, other than from Osborne. But that's all that I know. I don't know what how difficult it would be to achieve or receive hydro from Osborne. I know that it can get to the property line, but to get it up through their property, as it is a fairly big change in elevation as well, coming up to their house. But I would suspect we're going to get the same type of request or similar request from the adjacent property owner as well. That's behind the the fire hall in Braeside as well, because they're in the similar boat, similar situation, but we have not received anything from them.
Comments from council? Ms. Lee?
So in a previous life at a different township, legal was very against a request like this, allowing somebody to alter a road allowance in this way. Just because 10 years down the road, we go and do something there, or Bell goes and digs, and because it's road allowance, they think they can. And then there's issues. So we can ask our legal what they think now, but previously it was a big no from legal.
Deputy Mayor?
Thanks. And Mr. Frew, thanks for the comments on the costing of bringing the service up from Usborne into the residents as opposed to down what would be a similar sized hill. Based on my knowledge of the area, going from the upper plateau of the ridge down to where those people are versus coming from the road up, it's about the same. I don't know why they wouldn't just come up from Usborne as opposed to using the road allowance. But if it ever were to be considered, I would agree to you that it should not impede our ability to use the road allowance or now or in the future. So it should be, as if it were a road, and so it would be off to the side and in the setbacks there. But I don't think this is a good idea.
Any other comments from council? Mr. Jacob?
I tend to agree with the deputy mayor. I think this kind of a project, particularly given that council just considered selling a road allowance, well, this road allowance, but a little farther over, those kinds of possibilities always exist. And it's important that we don't tie the hands of future councils. So I would also oppose this as it's currently planned. And I think that it's not something that we need to tread into as a council at this point.
Okay. So I'm hearing from council that staff direction would be to deny the request. All in favor of that particular staff direction? Carried, thank you. Addition under new business. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows and members of the township are aware that the Arnprior McNabb Braeside District Archives was awarded the Archives Association of Ontario award for 2021, Councillor Lang, I think, which just goes to show even a small archives like exists in our community is doing a fantastic job in preserving history as well as many other aspects of our community. So I wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that, and I can't remember if I've asked for that to be put on our website and our Facebook page, but if I haven't already asked, I'm requesting that now. Also to be noted that at the Archives Annual General Meeting, we presented virtually a certificate to the Archives, of which I will be giving to Councillor Lang to present personally to the Archives Board at the next meeting that they have in person. So that was just information purposes. There's also, I think, don't know whether everybody got this either or not, the Ontario Winter Games 2022 that's being held in Renfrew County. And they're giving an update. There's already an ad out on, I guess, Facebook or YouTube or all that high-tech stuff about the Winter Games. I think it's going to be fantastic for Renfrew County. It will bring a lot of people to our area. Hopefully, by then there will be no COVID and we'll be able to get out and enjoy the events. Also, to be noted that they are looking for volunteers to help out in different areas. So if anyone has got some time or can help out in any way at all, I encourage you to contact Renfrew County and just give them your name, that you're willing to do certain things or certain things that you just can't do, but I'm sure they would appreciate the help. So I wanted to make sure that that also got onto our website and our Facebook page, and council was fully aware of it and can start verbally promoting this whenever the opportunity arrives. Any questions or comments on either of those two additions to the agenda? Okay, so this is just information. On
Did we
to,
get a mover and seconder for those two? I didn't write one down.
We did not.
Okay.
Councillor Lang and Councillor Jacob.
For both?
For both, yeah.
Okay.
Bylaws, 13.1, bylaw 2021-29, garbage levy bylaw. Mover and seconder. Councillor Jacob, Deputy Mayor Armstrong. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Bylaw 2021 -30, tax rates, mover and seconder. Deputy Mayor Armstrong, Councillor Lang, all in favor? Carried. Bylaw 2021-31, development agreement. Tracy and Terry Vandy. Moved by Deputy Mayor Armstrong, second by Councillor Jacob. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Is there any members of public with Ms. Lee for questions?
No, there's none tonight.
None tonight. Popular as ever, eh? You're gonna have to pick up your game, Brian. There's no closed meeting. The meeting notices are there for your information. We need a mover and seconder for the confirmatory bylaw, please. Councillor Lang, Deputy Mayor Armstrong, all in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.